Hey, bro.
How you doing?
I'm still breathing.
That's good. You're on the right side of the grass, as they say.
Yeah, tried it the other way once. It's no fun.
No, that's it. Yeah, man. So it's good to chat. Like I said in the email, I'm trying to really sort of reach out and get to know who's been following along and who's been benefiting from the stuff I've been putting out there, and try to see if I can get some testimonials and get some feedback and where I can improve, where I'm doing good, and this type of thing. So hopefully, if you're okay with that, we can get into a little bit of that today.
Yeah, I'm absolutely up for it.
Awesome. And I'm going to record this, too, because if I have your permission, I'd like to...
Oh, heaven forfend. No, I mean, come on. Yeah. Hey, dude, I've been in entertainment for 50 years. Put me on.
All right. Coach. Perfect. All right. So, Dave, you, if I remember correct, you're a student at Mix Lessons. Is that right?
Yeah, I am. And I also have APB that I haven't really gone through yet because I'm still behind the scenes trying to figure out technology. I'm an old analog dog, so I don't really, I'm digital for me, I'm about 60% there.
Right. Okay. Well, hopefully that the APB stuff will help you, because I did try my best to make it very sort of step-by-step walk through, because I know that not everyone is a tech nerd like myself, and sometimes some things I take for granted, right?
No, I'm getting there. I'm an old, like I said, analog, you drop me in an analog studio, I'm fine.
Yeah.
No worries. I've been doing it a long time, but man, that shift from digital to analog,
yeah,
it's been kicking my ass.
Yeah.
But I just completed my schooling at a local junior college for the Pro Tools and for live recording in digital, specific to digital.
Okay.
And I picked up a lot. I picked up a whole lot in conjunction with your courses that I've been working with, and that's been great because I work out of Pro Tools, and I don't really care what software anyone uses. So getting it from another perspective is kind of cool, a Cubase perspective.
Yeah.
But it all transfers. There's no big deal.
Yeah, ultimately speaking, all the tools are pretty capable, and it doesn't matter which one you use. The functions and features are more or less ubiquitous across the board. You just got to, sometimes they call it something different, or it's in a different spot in the menu or whatever. But more or less, you can do, whatever we do with any of these platforms. And that's one of the things I really tried hard to do with Mix Lessons, was to make it sort of software agnostic, so it's more
cool.
It's more about the concepts and the strategies and the things we're listening for than which specific EQ plugin you use. It doesn't really matter,
Yeah, I'm all over that because I've got a whole bunch of plugins now, and I find that I use 3 the most.
Right.
It just for just sketching in something, getting a static mix and filling it up so someone can hear it. I just go boom, 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 working off templates. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm really enthused about it. I've got a vast pool of ignorance to pull from, so I'm still confusing myself.
I understand. So listen, let me ask you, how did you stumble upon the TechMuze Academy and the stuff that I've been putting out? I'm always curious to see which channels people are coming in from.
Well, I was on I think it was Facebook. I was on Facebook and I was farting around and I saw something. I can't remember it. I'm an old guy. Excuse that one. But I clicked on it, and then I looked it up online after I saw your title, TechMuze Academy, because at that time I was looking for some info about what to do. I didn't know if I was going back to school or if I was going to try to pick it up on my own. So I saw it on Facebook, and then I clicked on your site, and I went there, and almost immediately I signed up because I watched one of the free videos. And it had real information that I was looking for right off the top. And I went, whoa, okay, well, if I give this guy a couple bucks, maybe he can help me to the next level, And I was totally and thoroughly blown away by how easy and methodical your approach was very methodical and very easy for me to digest in little bites.
Right.
And being able to do it at my own pace worked, because I'm a little slow on the uptake, but once I get it, I'm voracious, and I use it. I plug it in, and I'm using everything I learned.
Sure. That's great. So my devious plan is working then,
Yeah, you sneaking bastard. You can't say that.
Oh, yeah. Speak freely. This is an informal conversation.
Besides, there's always that.
That's right. Yeah, it's interesting because You know, a lot of people who try to do stuff online, it's like, you know, well, if I give away too much, then, you know, what am I going to save for my paid program or whatever? And in my opinion, you give away your shiniest gold nuggets, because that's how people grow to respect you, you know, what you're doing. And
I totally concur. I've been doing that my whole life with gigs and with other musicians and my studio time with others. I give it away freely, and what I find out is, man, they call you back, and next time they pay you, they go, hey, dude, thank you for what you did. It was awesome.
Yeah.
We got this session. Can you sit in with us? You know? Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's instead of asking for your business, I earn your business, hopefully.
I totally understand permission marketing. I'm totally all over that. I love it. Perfect. I'm in a fortunate position that I'm not really marketing anymore. Now what I'm mainly doing is legacy stuff. I've got 40 years of writing that's just sitting on a shelf that I want to do the recording myself.
Right.
And I've got a bevy of players that are just awesome, that play in other bands, that just are good friends, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gradually assembling my work, and then I'm putting together on my site for the APB. What I'm doing is getting everything hooked in so that I can have a blog, because I list myself as a musician, cultural philosopher, and producer.
Okay.
And what I hope to do is just start being the old guy sitting on the net, just banging content into it and having separate categories that people can listen to or not. I don't really care.
Yeah, absolutely. That's excellent. So you've got a bit of a future goal set in mind. You're in the process. Have you got some of your material recorded and finished now, or is there any of it that's done? Yeah. Do you have the site up yet?
Yeah, I do, but the site is it's kind of embarrassing because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm on WordPress.
Yeah.
And I've got Hover and Bluehost because that was part of your APB, and I went in and said, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I got out of Bandzoogle, and I went into WordPress because I wanted more control over my content and my templates.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just now learning it. It's going to take me a couple of months to figure out how to navigate that site.
Right.
But yeah, my site's up. It's the number 2, DaveMichaels.com.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so if people are watching this in the future, go check it out, and hopefully by the time you see it, you'll have put some flesh on the bones a little bit there and got some content out.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for anyone to look at it now because it's just pieces of my life, pieces of my tunes, and I don't have an order to it yet. See, here's the hardest thing I see. Content is actually easy. Writing content is simple, but what's the context?
Right.
Where do you put it so that it always makes sense, that you can just plug in and go instead of having to reinvent the wheel every time you do something?
Exactly. And I don't know how deep you've dug into the APB stuff. That's the Artist Promotion Blueprint for those who are not familiar. But we really walk through step by step how to set all that up, right?
It's amazing. I went through it cold one time just to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went back and I started at the beginning with you, and I went step by step. I got all the way up to where I've transferred my website to to where it's on Bluehost and Hover. I've got that there, and I've got WordPress, which I'm learning right now, and that's pretty much where I've stopped. I haven't hooked up my social media. I haven't made it a hub yet.
Right.
It's just me basically behind the scenes. I've got a whole bunch of pages that are private that I'm loading, but I only got a few things on it. But I'm going to go back and go through it step by step where I left off until I get it completely up and running.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best way to approach it. And that makes it a little more digestible, too, instead of this, because there's a lot of steps involved to really building the system out properly. But instead of seeing it as a big, daunting project, you see it as little chunks, you know?
Exactly.
Step 1, step 2, step 3, work on it at your leisure, and before you know it, it's built. You have a system of automation. And again, for those people who might watch this in the future, what Dave's trying to do is create his website as a central hub for all of his content, right? And so that when you publish something, whether that's a piece of music or a blog post or a video or whatnot, that it automatically syndicates to all of your social channels. So you take a large step of the workflow out of it with automation. That's designed to pull people back to the website where they can consume the content, read the post, watch the video, whatever it is. You have call to action on every piece of content to get them to join your email list, maybe give them a free track or two. And that allows you then to start building a database of fans that you can reach out to on a regular and consistent basis, and you know, not only just market to them, but to provide value and to open your kimono and let people into your world, right?
I like the concept of the sharing portion of it, because like I said, I'm no longer concerned with the commercial side of it. I don't need any validation from anybody. This is basically going to be me leaving a legacy behind, so that people can know I was here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just me, so I don't really have any boundaries per se, but I love the concept you use of the sharing, you know, the basically give people something, and don't worry about the marketing. What I've experienced with your philosophy is totally right on. What I've experienced is that when people just market, we're immune to marketing. We've been inundated with marketing, but people totally love being given something. Just here, this is something that's worthwhile to listen to or to look at. And if you have a setup, APB, where you can continually put into some context, you can put your content, people keep coming back. And what I'm finding is that I haven't even done anything on my site yet, really. I've got 400 people that have signed up.
Right.
I haven't done a damn thing. I'm sitting there going, who are these people and why are they coming here?
Yeah, that's amazing.
The internet's a wonderful thing. People are out looking, and if you have something that captures them, in other words, you're not holding back your little gold gem to try to sell it, you just put it out there, people are going to come back. I mean, I put a playlist up and said, here, play it at your next party. I don't care.
Yeah.
Original tunes. It's good stuff. Good dance music. Everybody can have fun, you know.
No, you're absolutely right. It's the reason why I do the podcast and the YouTube videos and all that stuff. You give, and before you know it, people start to pay attention and go, oh, you know, I like what that guy said. Maybe I'll listen to what else he has said in the past and subscribe to hear what he's got to say in the future. You know, and before you know it, you have an audience. And once you have an audience, then all sorts of opportunities open themselves up to you. You know,
oh, absolutely.
Creating a community, or, you know, selling your CDs or whatever it is, you know, creating a membership site. That's one thing a lot of musicians forget to think about, especially ones that are really trying to make a career for themselves. You know, a membership site is a fantastic way to monetize your fans, you know, to have a portion of your website that people can log into. Maybe they pay you $5 a month, and every month your paying members get your new material for free. You know, they get maybe 25% off your merchandise or whatever, and you're happy to do it because they're showing you that they want to support you by giving you a few of their hard-earned ones every month. You know, a lot of people forget about that. Patreon is a great way to engage fans too.
I signed up for Patreon. I go on the theory that you don't need thousands and thousands of people. If you have 1,000 people that give you $100 a year, that's a pretty good amount of money with a small group of people.
That's a 6-figure income.
So I'm looking forward to dealing with people that I can really relate to, as opposed to collecting numbers. You know, I've got 5,000 Facebook fans. Well, it doesn't mean anything. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we call vanity metrics.
Yeah.
Like the TechMuze Facebook page has 12 or 13,000 fans, and that's nice for social proof. But it's nothing more than that. It doesn't affect my bottom line at all.
And then it always goes there, doesn't it?
Yeah. But to those people who don't know, I can brag a little bit about it, you know, just to make it seem like it's a good thing. But, you know, it really doesn't have that big of an impact. It's nice to keep the numbers growing, of course, but the numbers that are important are what we refer to as our key performance indicators, KPIs. You'll hear a lot of the biz nerds talking like that. And I mean, that's, in my opinion, the amount of engagement you get is a more valuable KPI than how many Facebook fans or Instagram followers you have. If you've got 10,000 fans and only 3 people comment on your posts, well, it's just the same as if you had 3 fans. You're getting the same amount of engagement.
Totally.
Right?
You know, I would much rather have 3 fans, though, than 10,000 people in my hookup. Yeah. Because they just become a logistics problem then.
That's right.
3 fans I can talk to.
Yeah.
And I enjoy talking to people.
That's right, yeah. And of course, one of the main tenets behind the artist promotion blueprint is to really, like you say, to engage with your fans, to talk with them and keep them interacting with you and your brand and your music, but also to figure out a way to do that at scale. Because if you have 3 fans, you know, you can handwrite them each a letter, put it in an envelope, lick it, stick it, and throw it in the mail. If you have 1,000 fans, you know, that's a little more challenging to do. So we set up systems and methods to be able to communicate with your fans at scale, which doesn't mean that you should take out that personality. Even though I'm sending one email out to 1,000 people, I still want it to be, you know, I still want to contain my personality. I want to try to build rapport and engagement with these people. I want to encourage them to reply so I can talk one-on-one with folks and really build those rapports, because that's how it works these days. People don't just become a fan of your music and then give you money. They become a fan of your music and that gets their attention. And then it's your job from there to make them become a fan of you.
Well, you have to be you, and if they like who you are and you're real, like you say, don't be canned. Don't create a persona and then try to live into it. Just be who you are. I mean, I'm a pretty interesting guy, you know. And just off the cuff, if you sat down in a room with me at a party, my story, I've not led a sheltered life at all. And so I have some very interesting stories, and I engage people, and I've learned how to listen. I've learned how to really listen and go where the people are that I'm talking to, because that's the biggest form of honor you can give someone, is to really hear them. Yeah. Not just wait for your turn to talk and try to jump in on it, but to really engage. I think this setup that you've got going is really wonderful for that, for really engaging with people, because technology has a way of being so ubiquitous that we get blind to it. But if you can use that technology to actually connect, I mean to really connect, instead of being, hey, I'm having a party, everyone's going to come over and they're stare at their phones later, you're actually, you know, in their life. You're actually talking to them.
Absolutely.
So yeah. I think what you're doing is actually a service to mankind. It's showing people how they can actually use their hearts in it, as opposed to market. You know, marketing. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you saying that. Like, I'm a marketing nerd. I find it fascinating. So that's just me. That's not everybody, right?
So did I. I did it for years, and I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, but I think though that a lot of people need to realize that, well, two things. First of all, there's a difference between marketing and sales. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, if I'm selling you something, I'm trying to convince you to engage in a transaction with me, right? Yeah. Whereas marketing is a little different in that what I'm trying to do is I have something of value to offer the world, and it's going to be of value to some people. And marketing, in my opinion, is just finding those people and introducing yourself to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then beginning a relationship building process. And once you've gone through that, and if you've done that well, and you've given some value, then the sales process happens by itself as a default, as a byproduct. Exactly.
Totally a byproduct of the interaction.
And it makes it so much more enjoyable as a human being to engage that way, to really build relationships and talk to people and get to know them. And if they want to buy what you have to offer, they're going to do it, and they're going to do it with confidence because they feel as though they know, like, and trust you. And that way I don't ever have to think about selling. And that was a revolution in my mind. That was an epiphany for me a few years ago, you know.
Oh yeah. Just getting everything put together is difficult. I'll tell you where you could help me out.
Okay.
This is a question I thought about. The camera work that you've got, obviously you have a software program you put things into and you edit into, and you've developed a way of doing it so that it's very accessible. You're always consistent, and it's wonderful. Do you have any suggestions on that?
As far as if you're creating video content, you mean?
Yeah, I went out and I bought a DJI drone helicopter that I'm learning how to fly now.
Okay.
A very cool GoPro camera in it. Anyway, but I'm collecting video. Actually, I've got file drawers of people that have been shooting video of me film and video that's been digitized. I've got literally 10 years of work just in editing to put it all together.
Wow.
But I want to understand how I can converse like we're conversing right now, only make it like a podcast or make it like a video thing. I don't want to teach anybody anything per se, although I've got some acoustic stuff that's probably worth listening to that I can instruct on.
Okay.
I'd like to do a songwriting class, you know, to help fledgling writers be able to get out from that I'm jammed. And let me show you some doors and windows you can go through that'll take care of that.
Sure. Oddly enough, I'm working on something very similar myself.
Oh, tell me it's not so.
Okay, well, I'll tell you exactly what I have going on, and then maybe we can modify it a little bit depending on your specifics in terms of needs and what you have available to work with. But this is just my tiny little home studio that I do a lot of work in this room, whether it's my recording and mixing, or practicing, or making these videos, or what have you. So it's kind of a multi-function studio. But essentially, what I've got happening here is I've got a Logitech HD webcam. I use Skype typically when I'm having conversations like we're doing right now over Skype. Now, Skype, I'm on a Mac. Are you on a Mac or a PC?
I'm on a Mac.
Okay. So Skype has a companion application called Skype Call Recorder. So if you're doing any kind of interview or conversation type content, just use Skype. If you have Skype Call Recorder set up, it automatically records every call. And it records both video images, and it records both audio tracks separately. So if you wanted to, you could actually, maybe sometimes, for example, I'd have a conversation like this, and my guest's volume is quite low. So I can go ahead in Cubase, drop those tracks in there, and just edit and make sure that everything can be heard properly. Maybe pan myself slightly to the left and my guest slightly to the right, create a little separation. So that's super easy, and that's all built in with Skype. That's free software. Okay, so that's what I'm using to have conversational content like this. If I'm not having conversation, then I'm just talking into my webcam and I'm speaking to my audience.
Literally, you're looking into your photo booth camera.
Yeah. And
how do you film that? What do you hit record?
Well, I use a software called ScreenFlow. ScreenFlow is for the Mac. If you're on a PC, you might look up Camtasia, which is very similar to ScreenFlow. I believe ScreenFlow is a little less expensive, but they do not have a PC version. It's Mac only. So that'll work for you in your situation. ScreenFlow is great software. It's worth the money. I think it's $100 or something like that. You'll have to double check because I haven't looked in a while. But ScreenFlow is a screen recording software / video editing platform. And it's just powerful enough to be dangerous, but it's not something like Final Cut or Adobe Premiere where you have to take a bloody college course to figure out how to drive it.
I've got Final Cut that I'm trying to wrap my head around, but I need some down and dirty quick things that I'm doing, not for amazing videos, more for just like getting something out there, a conversation, like you say.
Yeah, I would suggest invest in ScreenFlow. You've already got Skype. Grab Skype Call Recorder if you don't already have it installed. And that way, and typically what I'll do, I'm not doing it right now for this conversation, but typically what I'll do is I'll have ScreenFlow. By the way, ScreenFlow not only records your screen, but it'll record video from your camera, it'll record audio from the microphone, and it will capture audio that's playing out of your computer as well. And you can have all of those things on separate tracks, and so editing becomes really easy. If you want to mute the audio for a second, you can just chop mute, and it's very, very simple, timeline based, right? So and editing is really kind of cool and simple in ScreenFlow. It works on sort of a keyframe concept, much like animation, where you'd have a keyframe that sort of begins the next section, and then only subtle things change from that keyframe onward. So, for example, let's say I wanted to, make I'm full screen, and then I want to shrink myself to the corner so I can demonstrate something on my screen. All I do is add a keyframe on my video channel, and I say before the keyframe, full screen. After the keyframe, this size.
That's why it goes whoop.
Yeah, and then it animates that transition, and you can stretch out the keyframe and make it slower if you want, or super simple. Super simple.
Yeah. Well, see, I need super simple because that's the way my life is. Super simple.
Yeah. You can swing on over to Fiverr.com, pay somebody $5 to design you a logo, and you can slap that right on the screen as a lower third. Put a little branding on it, make it look professional.
I live with a commercial artist, so I got my own in-house artwork.
Perfect. Yeah, so you got that covered. But ScreenFlow allows you to do that. You can drop your logo on there if you have like a lower third, or if you want to put some text on the screen or whatnot. Very, very, very simple to do all of those things.
What was that? That's ScreenFlow, you said?
That's ScreenFlow. Yeah.
Way cool. That was worth the phone call right there, Dezz. Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah. I'll tell you what else I have going on here. Now, of course, this is my recording studio, so I have a decent microphone. In fact, I'm talking into a SM7B right now. That I use for a lot of stuff. It's a great little mic.
Are you running through your mixer to go through your computer to have this conversation?
Yeah, the microphone's plugged into my audio interface connected to my computer. I have a Steinberg MR816, so it's FireWire.
Right.
So, you just got to make sure that your Skype and everything is configured to use that audio device, and everything works just great. Yeah, and then the only other thing I have going on here is I went to Home Depot and I invested maybe $100 or so in some lighting. So I have a little just a lamp on top of one of my monitors over here, and it's got one of those natural daylight bulbs in it.
Yeah.
Right, because they tend to look better. And I have another one on this side with a little bit of wax paper in front of it to soften it a little bit. And then I have one above me as well. And it's kind of like that 3-point lighting system. And,
sure.
And I think I spent like max $100 or so. And then I've got, just for fun, I added, you can see the little colored lights changing in the background on the floor. You kind of see that underneath the piano, right? That's just a little LED strip I got from Home Depot, and it's got the cool color changing effect. It was like $20 or something. And that was just for fun. But and that's basically it. That's how I do all of this. And from there, it's just a question of workflow. And once you've done 2 or 3, you get your workflow down, and now I can bang a piece of content out in, from start to finish to already up on YouTube in an hour. You know?
That's where I'm heading. I would like to communicate with the world in a cohesive, coherent way, and have enough technology that it doesn't look cheesy.
Yeah.
And it's completely able to be done in a quick, down and dirty way.
Totally. Yeah. If it weren't for that, because I know me, my personality, and when I stumble on a little hurdle or something, sometimes it's like, you know what, I'm just going to have a beer instead. Right?
I do that. I've been known to do that.
Yeah. In fact, I got one right here, just in case.
Well, I have just added an extension to my house, and we call it the lounge.
Uh-huh.
One of the first things I put in the lounge was a little refrigerator, and it always is stocked with 6 exotic beers of some kind. I've got it, literally, it's full. It's like a full bar. The problem with that is all my friends know it, and when I'm not home, they come into the lounge and have parties.
Yeah. Of course. You got to put a lock on that thing.
We love Dave. Come on, Dave. Hey, we're running out. You need to fill us up.
Yeah, no, it's that workflow thing is something that a lot of people forget about. And like one of the big things behind the Artist Promotion Blueprint, and just my sort of philosophy on growing an audience and a fan base in general, is to always be delivering content, right?
Yeah.
And the only way that that's going to happen consistently is if you make it easy.
Well, if you're hooked up see, here's my thing. You are absolutely right. I have been in workflow situations. I always make sure that my technical side is in automatic. So when I start working, I know where everything is, and I'm moving in the way I need to move. Where I'm at right now is I've been in a year-long learning curve, and I've been dribbling on the side with content, but I've been focusing mainly on getting everything back in automatic, and I'm not there yet.
Right.
And once I get there, I've got stuff. I'm sitting with my guitars and my keyboards and I got all the equipment. I know mostly how to use it, but I don't have everything in automatic yet. My website's not hooked up, so I've still got these things plaguing my mind.
Yeah.
Once I get everything back in place, then it's like you say, you're in a workflow. You've got many different outlets. You're performing, you're teaching, you're mixing, you're doing all that. That's pretty much how I live. Mm-hmm. But my technical side is at a point where I'm still not quite there yet. So it's frustrating to work because I get on it and I work and I go, let's see, where does that hook up at?
Yeah.
So I'm still at that point, but I figure I'm giving myself these 3 months. My birthday's in September, and the birthday present I'm going to give to myself is that I'm going back into content again. I just spent years. I've always had my own recording studio. Mm-hmm. I spent years in my studio just playing, just having fun, inviting people in and doing whatever. And I'm this close to having it all back again, so I'm not concentrating on the content part right now. I'm concentrating on the context.
Yes.
Where does it sit?
Yeah.
How does it flow? Once I get my workflow, I know how I want to do it. I just haven't got it all fingertip ready yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Web page is the last thing.
Yeah. Well, I got your back, my friend.
I'm ready for it.
I got, you may not know this because this is a recent development, but at the time that we're speaking right now, there is 2 separate Academy courses. Mixlessons.com for those who are home recording enthusiasts that want to learn how to mix properly.
That would be me.
Yeah, and then there's the Artist Promotion Blueprint. I'm in the process. Yes, that is. I appreciate it. I'm in the process right now of merging everything together so that you just join the Academy. You pay your monthly fees or your yearly fees or whatever, and you get access to everything, and as well everything else that I'm going to create in the future. So it's a way of simplifying things on my end, and also providing more value for my students and my members, because you don't have to buy 2 products. You just subscribe to the Academy, you get access a la carte to everything.
You mean I paid twice for something I could get once?
Now you
tell me.
Well, I'll tell you though, the Artist Promotion Blueprint is a one-time thing. Did you buy lifetime for Mix Lessons?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so you got all that anyway for cheaper than the average person, because everyone else in the future is going to have to subscribe monthly. And so as long as they want to keep accessing the content, they've got to keep subscribing.
Like I did under the wine.
Yeah, you've done good. But for those people, just before we wrap it up, for those people who might be on the fence as to whether or not to join the Academy and check out the programs that we have to offer, what would you tell them? Like your honest opinion to somebody who's kind of humming and hawing about it.
Well, I would say ultimately, whatever monies that you pay for this course is going to surpass the college education, the street education, the YouTube slog to try to find things that are relevant. It's going to be cohesive and put it all in one place for a small fee, relatively small fee, and you have access to it all the time. You can work at your pace. There's no deadlines. It's up to you to learn the material yourself, and everybody has got different reasons and various agendas. But I would say that get off the fence. Now's the time. I'm 67. I got this many minutes left to live, children, and I've done 50 years of schlepping equipment and doing the scene and making the contacts. And you know what it all boils down to? It all boils down to, what do you want to make? What do you want to do? And how much time do you want to spend? Are you going to spend your minutes vacillating and going, maybe next year? You don't have that much time, people. You don't know when you're going to be taken out. That's not a weird thing. That's just, that's a fact.
Yeah.
I'm too close to it to let it go. So when I saw your stuff, I went, I can move at my own pace. It's not blistery, but my schedule's whacked because I have a lot of things to do. But it allowed me to do it. So if you're sitting on the fence, this is a perfect opportunity to get into something that you control. As a student, you control it. It's absolutely brilliant. And each piece of information is logical. Each lesson is relevant. And you can go back and look at it. You can stop it and go, hey, what was that? And go back and do it again. It's so usable. It's so accessible. And it's so easy to do that the only reason that you're not doing it is because either A, you don't believe in yourself and this is just a whim, or B, you don't have a whole lot of money. Well, there's ways, trust me, I'm going to get you in hot water here, Dezz. There's ways that Dezz will work with you if you talk to him. He's here to help you learn, not take your money.
That's true. That's true.
My hat's off to you, man.
I appreciate you saying that, Dave. And one thing I just want to reiterate that you mentioned briefly there is that, there's 2 things. One is that, you got to invest in yourself. My mom used to always tell me, you either spend your time or you spend your money, right? Some people have more money than time. Some people have more time than money, and that's fine. If you have more time than money, then you know what? Take a few years, watch YouTube videos, practice on your own, and you will eventually get there if you're determined. But if you want to shortcut the process, you find the information all nicely packaged in one spot and you work through it at your pace, which leads me to the second point, which is you got to do the work.
Oh, yeah. You have to actually start hearing and moving. And yeah, I always say I've invested most of my life and I've traded my money for time. I have walked away from brilliant situations. I've said no to great opportunities. I've lost wives. I've lost family. I've lost friends because it was more important for me to keep my nose to the grindstone, as it were, as a musician, to understand, than it was for me to make vast amounts of money. And I've made some really good money a few times in my life, and I'm still living on money that I made, a couple of years ago. So I would say take the course, take the plunge, jump in, do it. it's not going to get any. It's not going to do you any favors to sit and think about things. Either do it or go to a restaurant and drink a beer. Either get busy or don't fool yourself.
Yeah.
Don't delude yourself into thinking you're doing something by having good intentions. You have to put the time in. That's the only way to do it.
Well, people, Dave Michaels said it. You heard it.
I'm here.
I'll see you in the members area.
You might. Yes, you will. Well, Dezz, it's been great. Thank you. It's been very informative, and I once again, kudos to what you're doing. I think you're offering a huge service to people like myself, especially the young ones.
I appreciate you saying it, Dave, and I look forward to continuing this conversation, this relationship, now that we've actually got a chance to speak face to face. It's always nice because everyone's just a name, everyone's just a name on Facebook or, a name in my email list or whatnot, and I like to get beyond that as best I can because it helps me to serve people better,
You're doing a bang-up job. And another thing, one last thing, and then I'll get off. I want to send you some WAV files and have you put some of your talent on some of my tunes.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it would be a lot of fun. Maybe I'll send you some scratch tracks, and you just say I like this song, and you do that song.
Sure. Yeah. In fact, something that I might be doing in the future is doing a little bit of that with some of our students, our members, as case study opportunities. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant idea, actually.
Yeah. So you get an opportunity to get my ears on your work as well, and my critique and feedback, and I get an opportunity to create a piece of content out of that. Effort, right?
Some cool people.
Yeah, some mutually sort of a symbiotic relationship there.
I love it. I love it.
Listen, thanks, Dave, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. Thank you for being a TechMuze Academy member, and I hope that it continues to add value to your life and what you're doing. And if not, be sure to let me know, and I'll make changes.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong believer.
All right.
Dezz.
Thanks, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
Later.
All right. Take care.